There's a kind of attraction a woman will never openly confess, not to her friends, not to the man she's with, and sometimes not even to the part of herself that wants honesty. It's the kind she keeps buried because acknowledging it would shake everything she's trying to maintain. It's forbidden, inconvenient, and uncontrollable. It arrives in her body before her mind even realizes what's happening, leaving her unsettled, intrigued, and quietly pulled toward you in ways she can't fully rationalize. And if you're not really watching, you'll miss it entirely. Or worse, you'll convince yourself it's something harmless when it's anything but. See, forbidden attraction doesn't show up like in the movies. There are no dramatic scenes, no bold confessions, no obvious attempts to get your attention. Instead, it appears in micro moments she doesn't realize she's giving away. Little contradictions, emotional slips, brief cracks in her guard where her desire escapes before she can force it back down. For just a heartbeat, she forgets she's taken, and that's where the truth lives. This is what Hidden Waters is exposing today. Not so you chase her, not so you interfere with anyone's relationship, but so you actually understand what's happening beneath the surface. Women hide behind layers of logic, social expectations, and imagined rules they believe they should follow. But attraction doesn't ask for permission. Chemistry doesn't care if she has a boyfriend. Desire doesn't pause to consider whether something is appropriate. A woman can be loyal and still feel drawn to another man. She can be in a committed relationship and still feel her curiosity flare when you walk into the room. She can love someone and still think about you when she shouldn't. Most men don't catch these moments because they're waiting for something obvious. They expect her to flirt directly, confess openly, or make some clear move. But women rarely operate that way, especially when the attraction threatens the stability of what they already have. They protect their reputation, they protect their relationship, and most of all, they protect the emotional truth they don't want anyone, not even themselves, to see. But here's what most men never understand. When a woman is secretly drawn to you, her body responds before her brain filters it. Her energy shifts toward you. Her attention gravitates in your direction. Her behavior subtly adjusts, even as she tries to keep herself under control. She starts dropping breadcrumbs, tiny, delicate, almost accidental clues that reveal what she's trying so hard to hide. Forbidden attraction reveals itself through tension, not words, through closeness, not declarations, through moments where her emotions escape faster than she can cage them. Maybe she stretches conversations longer than necessary. Maybe she listens to you a little too closely. Maybe she laughs at something that wasn't really a joke just because it came from you. Maybe her boyfriend is right there, yet her eyes drift toward you again and again, like she's checking something she shouldn't be checking. Maybe she asks innocent questions that aren't innocent at all. They're emotional invitations disguised as casual curiosity. Maybe she gets jittery around you, not because she's scared of you, but because she's scared of herself, of how strongly she reacts when you're near. If you've ever wondered why this happens, here's the unfiltered truth. A woman can be emotionally anchored to one man, but her physiology can still light up for another. It's not betrayal, it's biology. It's not cheating, it's chemistry. It's not intention, it's instinct. Her mind can be committed while her body is conflicted, and those conflicts show up in ways she can't fully control. This video isn't here to expose her or push you to pursue something destructive. It's about learning to read human behavior without illusions, excuses, or wishful thinking. Because when you understand these signals at a deeper level, you stop confusing kindness with interest or interest with politeness. You stop projecting, you stop misinterpreting, you start seeing reality with clarity. And that clarity gives you a calm masculine presence most men never develop. It gives you power, not over her, but over yourself. Today, I'm going to reveal 10 forbidden signals she'll never say out loud. The ones that show she feels something for you, even while she's with someone else. Some signs are emotional, some are physical, some are rooted deep in psychology. One of them is so subtle, only about 1% of men ever catch it. But once you've learned these signs, they become impossible to unsee. Before we dive in, consider something important. Real transformation doesn't come from a single YouTube video. It comes from stepping into a community where men commit to growth, discipline, and self-mastery. Hidden Waters isn't just a course, it's a lifelong brotherhood, a place where you learn attraction, emotional strength, and the psychology of masculine power on a level the world never teaches. Once you join, you're in for life. No subscriptions, no limits, just one decision that shifts your entire direction. If you're ready for that, the link is below. Join once, grow forever. Now let's get into the first signal, the emotional slip, the moment her guard fails without her consent. Every woman in a relationship carries an invisible shield, a quiet internal barrier meant to protect her loyalty, her image, and the emotional boundaries she's supposed to maintain. But forbidden attraction sneaks through the smallest openings, not loud, not dramatic, but through a moment where her emotions outrun her logic and reveal something she never intended to show. You'll recognize it when a question leaves her lips a little too fast, like her curiosity sprinted ahead of her restraint. She'll ask about your day, your plans, your feelings, not because the question itself matters, but because you matter more than she can admit. And there's a tenderness in her tone that doesn't belong in a safe, casual interaction, a warmth she didn't mean to expose. And as soon as the words escape, you'll catch that tiny flash of awareness where she tries to gather herself again. When a woman is secretly drawn to you, her emotions will always rush ahead of her logic for a split second. And after that split second, her reactions start unfolding in ways she can't fully disguise. She'll laugh at something you said with an ease that feels too natural to be deliberate, the kind of response that bypasses any conscious attempt to stay composed. Her face will brighten in a way she didn't rehearse, because real attraction cannot be choreographed. A woman can force herself to act indifferent. She can pretend she's keeping everything strictly appropriate. She can try to maintain a professional tone. But her emotional instincts will reveal the truth long before her mind catches up. Even when she tries to look unfazed, her eyes will soften or sparkle in a way she never intended, and you'll notice that unguarded flash just before she puts the mask back on. This type of emotional slip often appears in conversations she didn't need to initiate. She'll ask follow-up questions that don't necessarily lead anywhere, except toward a deeper emotional connection with you. She'll remember something small you mentioned weeks ago, something you tossed out casually and forgot, but she held on to it without meaning to. And what a woman remembers tells you more than anything she says out loud. If she's storing the emotional fragments of your life, she has already invested far more attention into you than she planned. Another revealing moment shows up in the way she mirrors your emotional state without realizing she's doing it. You'll share something meaningful, and her face will respond with empathy before she has time to restrain it. Or you'll speak passionately about something that matters to you, and she'll unconsciously lean into your energy, her body syncing with yours despite the boundaries she knows she should maintain. These little harmonies aren't politeness. They're evidence of emotional resonance, connection she shouldn't be giving to a man who isn't her partner, yet somehow keeps giving anyway. And here's the part most men never recognize. Forbidden attraction rarely begins with flirting. It starts with emotional responsiveness. When a woman reacts to you more deeply, more warmly, or more sensitively than she intends, she's already crossed an invisible internal line. She knows it, even if she won't admit it. She feels it, even if she tries to convince herself it's nothing. She might be attempting to keep her distance, but her emotions are already reaching out. That emotional slip isn't accidental. It's an unspoken confession she doesn't realize she just made. And that leads directly into the next layer, the shift in attention. Section number 2, the magnetic attention shift. When you become her silent priority, everything begins to change, even if she tries to look neutral, loyal, or completely uninterested, because attention is the real currency of desire. Women do not invest it casually, and they never direct it towards someone without reason. She can be in a committed relationship, she can be trying to play the role of the devoted girlfriend, but her focus will betray what her words won't. A woman cannot hide where her attention naturally gravitates. If it keeps moving toward you, that pull is louder than anything she refuses to say. You'll notice it in the way she tracks your presence, not openly, not boldly, but with the subtle, instinctive awareness of someone who feels your energy the moment you enter a room. Her posture may remain still, her expression calm, her voice controlled, but her attention flickers toward you in brief, telling movements. Sometimes it's the quickest glance, sometimes it's a longer, almost forbidden look she tries to disguise as coincidence. But the real giveaway isn't the look itself. It's how fast she looks away, like she's caught herself crossing a line she swore she'd avoid. When a woman is secretly drawn to you, her attention becomes out of sync with her relationship. Her partner is right there, but she's mentally checking for you. She might be talking to someone else, yet the moment she hears your voice, her presence shifts. She tries to appear focused on whatever she's doing, but her energy tightens when you're near, as if she's suddenly hyper-aware of the tension between you. Her body begins revealing pieces of the truth she won't put into words. A slight change in posture when she sees you, a softer tone when she greets you, a smile that seems too personal to be purely polite. These aren't intentional behaviors. They're instinctive reactions driven by attraction she's trying to keep under control. This happens because forbidden desire activates a woman's selective attention system. Her brain begins prioritizing everything connected to you: your voice, your expressions, your movements. Even when she's trying not to, she'll notice you laugh across the room before she hears her own boyfriend talking. She'll react to your presence faster than she responds to messages on her phone. She'll sense you leaving before she even turns her head. These signals aren't conscious decisions. They're biological responses rooted in curiosity and emotional pull. You'll also see it in the way she pays attention to subtle details. She'll notice when you change something about your appearance, when your mood shifts slightly, or when you're carrying a different energy than usual. She picks up cues without needing explanations. A woman who feels nothing for you barely notices anything. A woman who is secretly developing feelings becomes a quiet observer of your world, not because she wants to, but because she can't help it. But the deepest sign of all is this: her attention lingers on you in the moments when it absolutely shouldn't. When she's with her partner, when she's trying to act loyal, when she wants to appear unaffected, when she's actively trying to convince herself that nothing is happening. Her gaze betrays her. Her stillness betrays her. Her reactions betray her. Because attention is always honest. It's the one part of desire she cannot edit, manage, or hide. And when that honesty slips through, even for a heartbeat, her entire world seems to pause around you. It's not something she announces. It's not something she even understands. But that flicker, that momentary stillness when you enter her space, is the most unfiltered truth she will never admit out loud. She'll try to hide it, to mask it under composure, but that instinctive pause exposes more than she realizes. It is the quiet confession her body makes before her mind has the chance to negotiate it. And that brings us into a deeper layer of forbidden attraction, the nervous energy shift, when her body reacts before her mind approves. Because one of the clearest, most undeniable signals that she's secretly drawn to you, even while she's committed to someone else, is the way her physiology begins responding in real time, completely out of sync with the image she's trying to uphold. Women are masters of verbal control. They can downplay emotions, redirect conversations, maintain professionalism, and pretend indifference. But the body has no filter. It tells the truth with a brutal simplicity she can't silence. It won't show up as dramatic trembling or exaggerated blushes like movies suggest. Instead, you'll notice it in the subtle shifts, tiny splashes of tension running through her expression, the delicate changes in breathing, the involuntary sparks of alertness in her posture. A woman who feels nothing stays balanced, calm, and predictable. But a woman who's fighting attraction experiences a rise in emotional voltage she cannot contain. There's a spark under her skin: guilt, curiosity, excitement, and tension colliding all at once, and it leaks through in ways she wishes it wouldn't. Her movements give her away first. She may fidget with her jewelry or brush her fingers against her lips. She may tuck her hair behind her ear, adjust her clothes, or shift her weight as though grounding herself. These actions aren't calculated. They're instinctive attempts to steady the emotional rush ignited by your presence. Attraction activates her sympathetic nervous system, that ancient biological response that heightens awareness. Her heart beats a little faster. Her chest rises more softly with each breath. She holds herself differently, as though every part of her is quietly bracing against what she feels. Sometimes she leans in, drawn by magnetic pull, trying to appear composed while her body betrays her eagerness. Other times, she abruptly pulls back, avoiding eye contact, turning colder, acting distant, not because she doesn't want you, but because she wants the reaction to stop. She hopes that stepping back might calm the storm inside her. It never does. A woman who carries multiple layers of self-control becomes strangely inconsistent when she's attracted in a forbidden way. She might suddenly turn shy, quieter, more serious, even if she's usually bold, confident, and effortless. That stiffness isn't detachment, it's suppression. It's the emotional brake she's trying to slam before she crosses a line she promised herself she wouldn't approach. Her silence isn't boredom, it's her mind scrambling to regulate the intensity of her reactions. And then there's the opposite pattern, the woman who starts talking too much. She becomes unusually enthusiastic, overly chatty, almost animated, not out of confidence, but out of an attempt to drown the nervous flutter inside her. Excessive friendliness becomes her shield, because if she stands still for too long, her true feelings might surface in ways she can't control. Another unmistakable shift appears in the way she becomes hyper-aware of her physical presentation around you. She'll straighten her posture, adjust her clothes, or quickly smooth her hair when she sees you unexpectedly, even if her partner is standing right beside her. Physical proximity becomes a complex battlefield. She avoids getting too close, but her energy heightens the second you approach. Her shoulders square, her breath deepens, her focus sharpens. All unconscious gestures meant to make her appear more attractive, more composed, more seen. And then there's the most ancient sign of all, the dilation of her pupils. She can control her smile, she can control her tone, she can control her distance, but she cannot control this. When her eyes meet yours and her pupils widen, even if only for a moment before she quickly looks away, her body is telling the raw biological truth of desire. It's primal, it's involuntary, it's one of the oldest human signals, written into our chemistry long before loyalty, labels, or commitments existed. What makes this sign so forbidden isn't just that she feels it, it's that she tries to suppress it. Attraction speaks not only through what she does, but through everything she desperately tries not to do. The stiffness, the sudden stillness, the nervous movements, the flustered touches, they're all proof of an internal conflict between loyalty and instinct. She doesn't want you to notice, but her body refuses to lie. And just when she thinks she has her reactions under control, jealousy exposes another layer, the subtle jealousy she cannot justify. Because jealousy is the great revealer. It exposes desire in its rawest, most unedited form. A woman who feels absolutely nothing for you will never flinch when someone else engages you. She won't care who laughs at your jokes, who leans in when you speak, or who stands just a little too close. But a woman secretly attracted to you, even while she's with someone else, can't help reacting, even when she knows she shouldn't. Her jealousy won't erupt. It won't become dramatic or obvious. It lives under the surface, appearing in flashes of tension that she hopes go unnoticed. You'll catch it when another woman gives you attention. Her expression will tighten for a split second. Her posture will shift. Her eyes will snap toward you, reading the situation with a mix of alertness and discomfort. She won't say anything. She can't. Her partner might be present. Her reputation is at stake, so her jealousy becomes muted. Contained, controlled. Her silence becomes the evidence. Sometimes she pulls back, becoming distant to protect herself from caring too much. Other times, she moves closer emotionally, warmer, friendlier, subtly competitive, trying to reestablish a connection without crossing the line. But either reaction reveals the same truth. She feels something she's not supposed to feel. When a woman reaches that point where her reactions no longer match the role she's supposed to play, everything that follows becomes quieter, smaller, but far more revealing. And that's exactly why this next shift matters. Because a woman who feels absolutely nothing would never need to recalibrate herself around you in the first place. she would remain steady, unchanged, unfazed. But when her emotions rearrange themselves the moment another woman enters your orbit, that subtle shift is not accidental. It's instinct, it's tension, it's the truth leaking through the cracks of her self-control. You'll notice it in the small ways she studies the women near you, not openly, not obviously, but with a careful curiosity she tries to disguise. She'll ask who someone is or how you know her, pretending it's casual, pretending it's simply conversation. But there's always something delicate in her tone, a faint strain she tries to soften, a quiet uncertainty hiding beneath her words. She's not gathering information for fun. She's gathering it because something inside her needs to understand where this other woman stands in relation to you. Her questions are neutral, but her emotional undertone is not. And even though she hopes you won't notice, that curiosity is already an admission. It becomes even clearer when she tries to pull your attention back toward her without making it look intentional. The moment she senses your focus drifting towards someone else, she adjusts herself, her posture, her tone, her presence. She joins the conversation more quickly than she normally would, or she shifts her energy to match the room, almost as if she's trying to become the anchor again. She won't flirt. She won't do anything that would expose her feelings, but she will create a gravitational pull, a silent tug that brings your attention back into her space. Women do this instinctively when they care more than they want to admit. And if she has a partner, that's when the signs become even more revealing, because now she has something to lose and someone watching. Her body language becomes a battleground, her loyalty on one side, her attraction on the other. She might hold her boyfriend's hand more firmly, but her eyes betray where her mind really is. She might turn away from you as if to prove she's unaffected, but the tension in her shoulders exposes the truth she's trying to bury. Jealousy becomes something she has to conceal, not because she doesn't feel it, but because she feels it too much. The moment she sees you talking to another woman, something shifts inside her. She becomes more tuned in to you afterward, more attentive, more emotionally receptive. She listens with greater care, notices details she normally glosses over, and invests more energy into the interaction. This isn't random. It's her subconscious trying to reassert emotional significance, quietly reclaiming the space she fears someone else might take. Jealousy, when it's forbidden, doesn't erupt. It tightens, it observes, it transforms her into a version of herself she can't explain. But jealousy is only the doorway. What comes next reveals something far deeper, the kind of vulnerability she offers selectively, carefully, and often without realizing what she's doing. Because a woman does not open up to a man she feels nothing for, not in the small ways, and especially not in the meaningful ones. When she starts sharing things that don't logically belong in the space between you, that's when emotional boundaries begin dissolving quietly and slowly. It rarely starts with anything heavy. She simply tells you how she really feels instead of giving you the polished version she gives everyone else. She lets you see the frustration behind her smile, the exhaustion behind her bravado, the truth behind her, "I'm fine." Something in your presence feels safe to her, familiar in a way she can't justify. She begins confiding little pieces of her world, her stress, her insecurities, her memories, not because the moment calls for it, but because her guard lowers the moment she starts speaking. Her emotions reach for you before her logic can stop them. And what makes this dangerous for her is not the information she shares. It's the emotional direction behind it. She might go home to her boyfriend, but throughout the day, she reveals more of herself to you. You become the space she opens up in, the space she processes through, the space she leans toward without consciously realizing she's leaning. That alone is more intimate than anything physical. You'll feel the shift in her voice when she speaks to you. It softens. It slows. There's a warmth there she doesn't use with others, a subtle sense of closeness she can't completely hide. She shares more than she intended, yet once she begins, she struggles to pull back because speaking to you feels strangely natural. That ease is not accidental. It's emotional gravity. A woman who isn't attracted stays on the surface, polite, friendly, but never exposed. But a woman who feels something lets her thoughts drift into deeper territory. She might mention past relationships, fears she rarely speaks about, dreams she doesn't discuss openly. These are not random disclosures. They are emotional openings. They are invitations. Sometimes she'll swing between guarded and open, distant and suddenly transparent. That contrast isn't inconsistency. It's internal conflict. She's trying to protect her current relationship while her heart quietly reaches in your direction. Every time she chooses to tell you something personal, even if it's small, she's choosing connection over caution. And perhaps the most revealing part is the subtle way she seeks reassurance from you. She might ask if you were upset about something she said, or she checks whether she misunderstood you, or she asks for your opinion on something that clearly matters to her. These moments aren't accidental. They reveal she cares how you see her, cares more than she should, cares more than she's willing to admit. Because the truth she hides from herself is the simplest truth of all. She wants to be seen by you. Not as a friend, not as a casual presence in her life, but as a man whose perception matters to her in ways she can't explain and can't fully control. And that desire to be seen by you in a way she can't admit pulls her into a level of emotional exposure she never intended to offer. This kind of openness isn't random, and it isn't harmless. Vulnerability for a woman is always deliberate on some level, even when she doesn't consciously choose it. So when she lets you into her inner world, piece by piece, thought by thought, she's revealing that you've reached a place inside her long before she was prepared to acknowledge it. That's why this type of connection is so powerful, and also why it's so often misunderstood. Forbidden attraction isn't rare. It's simply hidden beneath layers of responsibility, loyalty, and the expectations she feels obligated to live up to. A woman can be genuinely devoted to her partner and still feel an emotional pull toward another man, because attraction isn't a moral decision. It's a psychological reality. It happens underneath the surface, in places she can't fully control. It's the unfiltered part of human nature, the part that responds before logic has time to interfere. The signs you see aren't fantasies or misinterpretations. They're reflections of something she's experiencing at her most instinctive level. Forbidden attraction doesn't begin with decisions or intention. It begins with energy, tiny sparks she can't suppress, a resonance she didn't prepare for, a shift in her emotional rhythm when you walk into the room. It's the way her thoughts wander back to you, even when she tells herself they shouldn't. It's the way her tone softens around you, or her guard slips, or her awareness sharpens the moment your presence changes. She doesn't choose any of this. She reacts. Her body reacts. Her emotions react. Her mind follows the feeling long before her morals catch up. And the more she tries to control it, the more those hidden signs surface in ways she can't disguise, not because she's disloyal, but because chemistry is stronger than intention. It bends her reactions, her tone, her attention. It pulls her and confuses her at the same time. But it's important to understand what these signs do and do not mean. They don't mean she plans to leave her boyfriend. They don't mean she wants you to pursue her. They don't mean she's ready for anything to happen. What they show is far simpler, yet far more complicated. On an emotional level, you've slipped into a space she didn't plan to open. You occupy a corner of her mind she never reserved for another man. You stirred feelings she thought were locked behind commitment and certainty. And as she fights to contain them, the struggle makes those signals even more visible. Recognizing this is not about taking advantage of her vulnerability. It's about protecting your own. Too many men misread a woman's warmth as a promise. They confuse chemistry with availability. They fall for a connection that feels magnetic but was never meant to move past tension. They invest emotionally in a woman who is battling herself, torn between loyalty and instinct. And when the situation collapses, as situations like this often do, the man is left carrying the emotional cost alone. When you can read forbidden attraction clearly, you stop building hope where there's no genuine path forward. You stop interpreting mixed signals as invitations. You stop letting chemistry blind you to reality. But you also gain something valuable: clarity. You begin to understand that attraction doesn't always align with circumstance. You learn that your presence may influence people more deeply than you realize, and you recognize that your emotional steadiness, your calm presence, and your grounded masculine energy can have a silent effect even on women who are already taken. But the most important truth is the one men often overlook. The right woman will never hide her interest in shadows. She won't give you signals wrapped in conflict or masked by guilt. She'll make her intentions clear. She'll meet you with openness instead of hesitation. She'll lean toward you without fighting herself. And she won't force you to decode mixed messages because she'll make you feel chosen, not confused. Forbidden signs aren't an invitation. They're a warning. They reveal emotional tension, not emotional readiness. And when you can distinguish the difference, you protect your heart, your time, and your sense of self from getting pulled into a story that was never meant to become real.